Welcome to Bill the Drone Reviewer Podcast, Episode 47, Rotor Talk Live, Hubsan Zeno 2 and Autel Evo 2 delays. Got that coming up next. The other night, Marcus Crawford, Ron Braun, and I hosted Rotor Talk Live. We discussed the Hubsan Zeno 2 shipping delay. We took a look at the latest flight videos. We went over the Autel Evo 2 official delay and gave our analysis on what we think the reasons may be behind it. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 3, Episode 4, Hubsan Zeno 2 and Autel Evo 2 shipping delays. Mr. Marcus Crawford, how are you this evening?
Pretty darn good, Bill. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. We had some good weather today. It ended up being 70 degrees here, sunny. Perfect day to go out and fly. Of course, I was doing my due diligence by taking care of Publix IT today. That was my mission. So, Mr. Ron Braun, how are you? How are you? And how's the weather in Margate, in New Jersey?
Well, I'm doing pretty well, Bill, but it was a bad day to fly here in Margate. Cold and windy was too bad of a thing. And of course, right now you couldn't fly anyways. As of 5:15 today, there's a no fly, a TFR.
Oh, that's right, because
President Jersey, because President Trump is speaking at Wildwood tonight. So it was a 5:15 was the TFR was in effect, and it'll be in effect until about midnight tonight. So it would be an extremely bad time to fly right now, Bill.
Yes, that would not be a good time to fly. You were very correct with that. We got a jam-packed show tonight. I mean, we're filled up to the gills. But a couple of things first, and I wanted to do this, and I didn't want to be remiss without this. The Kobe Bryant tragedy is weighing on a lot of people's minds. It's just absolutely just incredibly sad. For him, for his daughter, and the others who perished, we're going to have a moment of silence for them right now. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to say was this. I'd also be remiss in not saying that on this date in 1986, we lost Challenger. And that was just one of the great tragedies in the American space program, and really, really just made our eye open to how brave that these souls are that step on board that shuttle. So again, let's have a moment of silence for the crew and families of the Challenger. Okay. Thank you for all
Bill.
that. Yes, sir.
So both of those situations, you're going to remember where you were at the time you heard that news. I'll never forget the Challenger disaster. I was driving a milk truck in Oregon. I was delivering ice cream mix and dairy products to a little drive-in, and they had it on their radio, and he had a little TV up above, and we turned it on, and I just remember the disbelief.
Oh, yeah. I was at work. I was at Nationwide Insurance, and we had the weather. It was like minus 20 outside Fahrenheit. It was super cold that day. And, the reports started coming in. And next thing I know, I looked out front of the building, and the flags were at half staff. And I was just like, wow, it just jaw dropping is what it was. It was absolutely jaw dropping. Also in line too, with the Kobe Bryant tragedy, I did read today that the FAA has issued a NOTAM for the area where the helicopter accident was. It seems a lot of individuals were taking drones up to try to film and photograph the area. So that's in effect, I believe, until Sunday. So the National Transportation Safety Board can fully investigate this. And, I'm sorry, I'm going to call it like it is. There were some real boneheads that did that. Okay. Just absolute total boneheads. This is a very serious matter, a very serious issue. And I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. We're going to talk about some good things here. Okay. And first we're going to talk about, well, we're talking about the Xeno 2. All right. That's something that is near and dear to a lot of our hearts here.
The
All right.
Xeno 2 is a good thing, Bill.
Yes, it is a good thing. It is a very good thing.
Does
Now,
anybody have a pre-order on that Xeno 2?
I don't know. I don't
A couple
know.
of people.
A couple of people did. Now, one of the things that I had been seeing all along, and I'm going to welcome some people in the chat here. DeMarco's here tonight, Larry Boggs, John of Drones, Saigon 98 Drone Fix, Stephen Ewing, Lauren's in the house. Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate that. Okay. Now, now you probably saw, and we're going to be talking about the Evo 2 here in a little bit. Now, one of the comments I have been getting, not only on the Evo 2, but also on my Xeno 2 Facebook group, is the reason for the delay is the coronavirus. Okay. So, well, first of all, let me say this. Okay. There was, and we're going to get into reasons for this delay here. Okay. I want to share something with everybody. Okay. Now, this was from a subscriber of mine from the UK who is currently over in Shenzhen, China. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this up on the board here. Okay. And he says, I'm in China at the moment. Part shipping shouldn't be a problem. Holidays are extended by 3 more days. Shenzhen, Guangdong, that's the province, where most of the electronics like this are shipped from, is running as normal. And you can see I thanked him very much for the update. So I wanted to get this out in front of everybody to let you know, okay, I'm not going to make a statement here about media, but you need to be careful, what you hear. Okay. You listen with discerning ears as far as that's concerned. That's all I'm going to say on that. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a dive into the Xeno 2. Now, Ron and Marcus, you guys both got the infamous email from GearBest, correct?
We did. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this email basically, it's like, what are you guys' takes on the email? First of all,
number one, the email was a generic email. Like when my Skydio drone was late, at least they would put my name in it. This just said the GearBest one just said "Dear Customer," so it was more of a forum email than the personal one you got from at least Sky didn't put your name on it. It was welcome. If any communication is welcome, especially when GearBest told me through a direct message on YouTube that they would be shipping on January 1st, and since then we had no further updates that issues have happened. Like again, everything I'm saying here is rumor stuff I read on the internet. None of this has been anything I'm going to say has been verified any place, but that the initial shipment, I think they were supposed to get 1,250 exclusive Xeno 2s to sell first from Hubsan. And I think the initial shipment was only like about 120. And of course, they're still scrambling to fulfill the rest of the orders. And the bad thing about that is, even though it was supposed to be a GearBest exclusive, some units slipped out the back door to small sellers like on Alibaba, who Blue Sky in Canada got his from. So it's not as exclusive we thought it was going to be. So there's been, and again, none of this could be blamed on GearBest because they can't control what Hubsan's doing behind the scenes, but they should at least communicate some of this. And I realize they can't throw their partners Hubsan under the bus, but at least they could come up with some kind of generic wording saying we're having supplier issues. Your drones are going to become later than they should. And the thing that really is the rubble in this whole thing is that they took the full amount of the drone as a pre-order price. They didn't take $20 down. They didn't take $100 down. They took the full $399 plus shipping down. So that money's been sitting maybe in the account drawing interest or whatever, this whole time. And anyhow, it's all about communication. Marcus, I'm going to throw it over to you. What do you have to say about this?
Well, Ron, you covered just about everything. The other thing that I will add to that is the fact that I'm willing to bet that it's a Hubsan issue more than a GearBest issue. And what I'll say is if Hubsan found some kind of an issue with the drone, just like what the email that Autel sent out, we don't know that, but I'm just purely speculating here, or just plain production issues. spent a career involved in manufacturing, and I understand what can happen with production issues. So clearly something happened, and I'm willing to bet that they just didn't get all the drones to GearBest when GearBest thought they were going to get them. Secondly, if I was a betting man, Ron, I'd bet that your and my and Bill's Xeno 2s are still sitting in parts bins, not even assembled in a Hubsan factory someplace. Maybe not even in a parts bin, maybe waiting for a supplier to supply Hubsan with a part so that they can put them together. Uh, if I get the thing, uh, by March, I'll be happy as a clam. I've had worse experiences. We talked about this a little bit last night on Xeno Nation. That FIMI X8, Ron, that you're flying right now, I ordered it in December, and I got it on my front door in May. So,
Yeah.
it's just part of the. It seems to be part of the thing with those smaller Chinese drone manufacturers. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Marcus and Ron. And you know what? And I concur. I think this was more Hubsan's responsibility than GearBest's responsibility. I think Hubsan was overly optimistic at what they could get out, and GearBest is kind of left holding the bag and saying, we're the exclusive pre-order, and they're going back to Hubsan and saying, well, you guys said you were going to give us X, and then you only give us 120. So what's the deal here? So they have to kind of scramble and everything, and and it looks awkward for GearBest because they're supposedly the official retailer, quote unquote, or provider of the Xeno 2 here for Hubsan, and it looks bad for not only GearBest, but really, if you want to come down to it, and I think you guys kind of nailed it, it's more Hubsan's responsibility, I think, than GearBest's responsibility as far as that's concerned.
Right. So, but I totally agree with you. But the thing is, how many Hubsan Xenos got out the back door from Hubsan? These small sellers on Isle of Balby that should have been part of the 1,250 or the GearBest, and that is probably the most disturbing part. I mean, maybe only a couple got out, but we don't know that. Maybe hundreds got out the back door.
Yeah, that's true. And one of the things that and this is very interesting. If you look at all the unboxing videos, we're gonna talk about that in a second here. If you look at all of them, all these ones that we saw unboxing videos from had a case with it. Okay,
right.
They weren't just the Xeno 2 itself, the controller, and a battery. It was all these ones. When they were doing the unboxing, came out of the case, which I thought was real interesting. Okay. As far as that's concerned.
Case and an extra battery,
and in a case and an extra battery. So, and maybe if GearBest was being nice to us, they might send us that extra battery in that case, because remember, I did ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. So that's my motto. So right, I went out there and we did that. Okay.
Hey, Bill, before you jump off the subject, I would just want to close with one thing. I want to ask you a question. Okay, on the whole pre-order thing, we've been through pre-orders with a couple drones now, and a couple of them have been burned. What, in your opinion, this is totally opinion, what is an acceptable amount of time for a pre-order from payment or down payment to receive the drone? This is a totally opinion.
Okay, are you talking a major manufacturer, or you're talking like GearBest?
Well, I'm kind of throwing everybody in one thing, but if you want to split them up, that's fine. But
okay.
I was thinking just in general.
Okay, in general. Okay, let's let me split this up. Okay. Now, if we're looking at a what I'll call a larger retailer, and let's use DJI as an example. My thinking is this: and I'll go by this. When I ordered the Mavic 2 on launch day, when it was launched, I got it less than a week later, 6 days. It was at my doorstep. Okay?
But that wasn't a pre-order, right? That was a straight up buy.
That was a straight up buy.
Yeah.
Now, for mostly, okay.
Now, has DJI ever done a pre-order?
We could probably call the Mavic Mini a pre-order because they weren't actually available until November 11th. We
I
ordered
agree
them.
with that.
Of course, they
So
didn't call it a pre-order, but yeah, it kind of
yeah,
was. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
it,
We didn't know it.
yeah, exactly. We didn't know it, but it was, and
Yeah.
then we ended up getting it on the 11th. So that's reasonable. Okay, that's I'll call reasonable. Now for pre-ordering, let's say from GearBest or Banggood or one of these guys here. Okay, you have to take so much into account. Okay, it's not like ordering from say Autel or Parrot or DJI or even Unique. I'm gonna even go with them. Okay,
Or from Amazon, from a
or from
retailer
Amazon.
like Amazon.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, doing a pre-order with them. Okay, I would think number one, there needs to be an expectation. Okay, because what GearBest said and what actually was were two different things. I know Ron has talked about that. You've talked about it, and so have I. Okay, what they told us initially. I think they mentioned January 1st. Okay.
Well, again, I responded to one of their videos they put on YouTube, a promotional video. I asked them when they would ship, and this is whatever their social media person said directly to me. It will ship January 1st. So I'm getting that from the horse's mouth there, as they used to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. My thing is this: I think for the major dealers or major manufacturers, okay, I think you can kind of take it with what they're going to say is going to be pretty accurate. It's going to be pretty close to what it is. And we're going to talk about the Evo 2 here in a minute, okay? But for the most part, you can take it pretty accurately. When you're pre-ordering something from a major manufacturer, you're going to get it in short order, okay? DJI learned their lesson with the original Mavic Pro 1, all right?
Was that a pre-order?
What's that?
Was the Mavic 1 a pre-order?
Yeah, you could pre-order that, and a lot of people did in October, and they didn't get theirs until late December or early January. I mean, it was just, and that's before they went ahead and they decided to go ahead and add more distribution centers in the United States, and that really helped alleviate that problem. Okay.
Real quick, was the Evo 1 a pre-order? I knew it was late, but was it a pre-order or just it was late and you couldn't buy it until it actually was out?
You could pre-order it because I know Carolina Drones and I know DroneWorks. You could pre-order it and give them a deposit. So they ended up having the deposit for months, and we're gonna get into that here. Okay. The second thing I'd like to talk about just briefly, and it's not really a whole lot to this, the Xeno 2 unboxing videos. Now the QC guy did one, L3 Toys did one, PSJ-01 did one. Okay. Those are the ones that I was able to find out on YouTube, actual verifiable, honest to goodness unboxings. Okay. Now, with that being said, all right, there's not a lot out there. There's not a lot of content out there as far as that's concerned. And also I think Blue Skyver did one as well too. All right. So those are the ones that we had to go by as far as unboxing videos are concerned. Now, I think the thing that everybody really is very interested in is the flight videos from the Xeno 2. Now, we did get to see, Hubsan did put out, there was a night video, and we got to see one, and it was obviously, it was not FAA compliant. They were over, I don't know what it was, 1,400 meters, and how many miles out and back. I mean, and they barely had enough battery power to land that thing, and it was at night. So, I mean, all kinds of things.
And Bill, why do all these, you see one of these Chinese videos, and I mean from a company, from a Chinese drone company, why do they always fly at 400 meters? They always take it up I wonder if that's the limit over there, because they all do the same thing. They take every drone up to 400 meters and fly the whole time at 400 meters.
I think you're right, Ron. I think that's what the limit is. I mean, that would make logical sense for them to do that. But you really couldn't tell a lot by those night videos. But then Blue Skyver got his and has put out some videos. We've also seen L3 Toys, and I think L3 Toys is out of Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken. And you can definitely see a difference because the climate in Malaysia, it's green, it's lush, there's a lot of color there, and I think that really kind of gives you a good perspective on what the camera is going to be like. All right. Now, one thing that has been universal in all these videos, and I'd like you guys to talk about this here with me, is the horizon tilt.
Yes. You see the rise until, well, let me back up. Just I want to say one thing I'll never get back to. I contacted Blue Skyver, and he said he got his from Al Bobby, and I also contacted L3 Toys, and he got his from Not Gearbest. So the two people I know that have it did not get it from Gearbest. So I'm gonna try to contact everybody. As far as I know, outside of one person, nobody received them from Gearbest. So I don't know, a real Gearbest. I don't know anybody who a real customer ordered theirs from Gearbest and got them. These people that have them got them from someplace else. But back to the in that video with the night skying in China, some people call that soft. Bill Thomas looked at it. He said got soft focus issue again. And of course we know the tilt issues that Blue Skyver has been having. I mean, it's the worst tilting issues I've ever seen in a drone that has a 3-axis gimbal. And we get it, he says it's the cold. He thinks the gimbal freezes out there, and he could be right. And his video quality definitely doesn't look like it's a sharp 4K video from 1.5-inch sensor. But the guy L3 Toys, now his video, I mean, he has a tilt issue, but not as bad. His tilt issue mostly comes when he's yawing too hard. But his video, I mean, the detail looks good in it. The colors look natural in it. I mean, I want to buy his. I don't want to buy the other guys' a Xeno 2. Marcus, have you checked these videos out? What do you think?
Yeah, so listen, I'm going to just tell you, I don't think we can tell anything from what we've seen from L3 Toys yet or from Blue Skyver. Blue Skyver does a great job, but I think he is, like you said, Ron, he has a lot of yaw in his videos, so it's really hard to tell. And then also, it has got to be bitter cold up there in Montreal. I can't remember what the specs are on the Xeno 2. Typically, it's about freezing. I think the Mavic 2 you can go about down to about 14 degrees, but which is a little bit more. But most drones, they don't want you to fly them much below freezing, and there's no question that he's flying in those kind of conditions. And I can absolutely understand how that could affect both the camera and the gimbal. So I don't know that we can draw a lot of conclusions from his videos. It looks, the best thing we can say is it looks like it flies pretty good, and it's a good looking solid drone. Now the L3 ones, there again, we don't know what settings they're using. We don't know what kind of calibrations they've done. So, I am just going to withhold judgment until I get one in my hands, and then we'll be able to see about that kind of thing.
Or until Bill the Drone Review can put it through his paces.
That's right.
There you go. Absolutely.
Well, Blue Skyver put out a video today, and in that video today, he did something a little bit different. He had the drone in the car with him to give it some warmth, and he only took like 10-minute flights. Okay. Now it's really hard with it being as, drab and dreary, and just cloudy and cold. It's really hard to tell if there was any difference as far as that's concerned. But I think one of the things is that, and we had talked about this off camera, is, the use of a landing pad here, and I know a lot of guys like to catch and hand launch and everything here, but in the winter like this, it's really, I think, important, especially if you're going to be flying out in conditions like that, to use a landing pad. Okay. When Ron and I were down at the beach at North Reddington Beach, we both had landing pads. Okay. Because while there's going to be sand, and you are going to probably get some sand, you're going to minimize the impact when you do something like that. So I think the use of a landing pad, I think is something that you should really kind of look at.
Bill, just want to throw in real fast. You make a great point. And the landing pad, you definitely want to keep your camera and gimbal clear of dirt, sand, and all that. That's the number one thing that can mess a camera and gimbal up.
Yeah. That's why I'm always a big proponent for like the Mavic Mini and the Mavic series of getting landing gear on them, because that gimbal has, historically from DJI sits pretty low, and you want to try to get that up. And, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about with these videos that we're seeing is this is, and I wanted to ask both Ron and Marcus this question is, do you think, and let's, it's really, it's very obvious there's a horizon tilt gimbal type of issue here with these videos. Do you think that Hubsan is going to correct this and have a firmware update for this by the time we get ours?
Marcus, you take this one.
Go ahead, Marcus.
In both of these situations, we don't know if those were pre-production drones that they got or whatever. So, like I said earlier, I just don't think you can draw any conclusions yet with regard to tilted horizon or soft focus or anything else until we see them more widely available and see some more reviewers get a hold of them. I'd love to see like Quadcopter 101 or Dustin Dunhill get a hold of one, and I think we can have a much better idea at that point. Now, yes, did we see tilted horizon in both of them? Just addressed that a couple minutes ago. Cold weather, and we don't know what kind of calibrations, etc. Are they pre-production units? We just don't know at this point. What firmware version to that? Is it a pre-production version of the firmware in those birds? These are questions that we don't know. So as far as worrying about the tilted horizon, honestly, it's just nothing I'm going to worry about until I get the drone in my hand and see it for myself, or if I see it from a real reviewer like Dustin Dunhill or Quadcopter 101, somebody like that we know is going to do a good, thorough review. I want to go back and touch on a point you were making earlier, Bill, and Ron as well, about the gimbal on the drone. Obviously, yes, you want to keep it out of the dirt. The thing that we noticed in Blue Skyver's situation is that it was right down in the snow, and he picked it up and there's snow and wet falling off of it. I don't know. That was a little bit much.
Hey, Marcus, was that before or after the gimbal tilt issues?
Well, I think the gimbal tilt issues were there in every flight, so I can't say, but there's no question, that the cold and that kind of stuff has something to do with it. Now, with regard to that, hand launching and hand catching is an easy thing to do, particularly with the Xeno, the original Xeno. And looking at this one, it looks like it is similar. There's such a big body where the battery is at the back of that drone. It's just really easy to grab a hold of that thing. And in that situation that Blue Skyver found himself in, I think I would have been throwing that thing in the air and then grabbing it out of the air. But all of these are valid points. Landing pads work, etc. So, yeah, Ron.
Yeah, I totally agree with Marcus and Bill, and like Mark said, hand catching is easy if it's something you're into, but also throwing down landing pads easy also. So Blue Skyver had two easy options, and he chose neither one of them. He chose to get his gimbal in the snow, and I'm not getting on Blue Skyver. Maybe he forgot his landing pad at home. Maybe he didn't have the spikes. So I'm not throwing him under the bus at all in this, but to answer Bill's question, are we worried about the horizon issue on the Xeno 2? Well, I can only go in history on the Xeno 1. When we got the Xeno 1, I remember having a bit of horizon issues, and I want Marcus to weigh in this a second. But if it was an issue, it was fixed correctly, and the Xeno had very little horizon tilt issue through my 1 year plus of ownership of it. I think maybe at the very beginning it had a tab, but I don't think it. Marcus, am I correct on what I'm saying here?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Ron. The Xeno always had a pretty solid horizon, like you said, a little bit at first. Now I'm also going to add the most recent gimbal firmware update introduced some really bad horizon tilt into my Xeno. I simply rolled it back to the previous version. And by the way, Hubsan actually told me to do that. They told me, they said, hey, you're seeing this issue, roll it back to the previous version. I did, and it corrected the problem.
Well, maybe the person that created this latest firmware for the Xeno 1 was the guy who was the head programmer on the Xeno 2 Horizon team. That guy, maybe he needs to be switched to a different programming team. Again, I'm just joking here, whatever. But yeah, again, based on history, I don't think Xeno as a company has a lot of Horizon tilt issues based on the lifespan of the Xeno 1. So hopefully this is, if it is a software problem, a universal software problem, not user error, based on history, I think it'll be addressed and fixed correctly. I mean, Hobson was real aggressive on the Xeno 1 the first go around at fixing the major issues, the blurry camera, what do you call that? The Hobson dropper. They're very aggressive in trying to fix that stuff early on. So I don't the Horizon tilt issue. I will not worry about it long term. To answer Bill's question, does that answer your question, Bill?
Yes,
I
it sure
concur.
does. It sure does. And you guys make a lot of sense here. Especially bringing up the point that some of these may be pre-production units that got into the hands of people. So, like you said, and I think it was Marcus said getting in the hands of some of the professional drone reviewers out there and having them take these up to fly them and taking a look and seeing putting it through its paces. I think we'll probably be able to tell a whole lot more when things like that happen. So we'll kind of stay tuned and we'll kind of see what's going on. The Chinese New Year has been extended by 3 days. So as far as the shipping delay is concerned, let's take that into account. So, we're probably looking, we may hear something next week. I don't know. That's just probably a guess. We'll end the Xeno 2 conversation here, but we'll definitely be for tonight, but we'll definitely continue it. Okay. We're going to move on here. Okay. Now, it was Autel announced yesterday, and I'm going to go ahead and read part of the statement here in a second, that the Evo 2 has been delayed. Now, if you remember at all what happened with the Evo 1, I'm going to call it the Evo 1 for lack of a better term. It was announced at CES, and in February that year, we had information from the FCC Grant ID database with pictures and, the owner's manual and the whole 9 yards. We didn't get it in consumers' hands till the end of June, beginning of July that year. Okay. And, there was a lot of angst among the Autel Evo community with this. Okay. So here we are with the Evo 2. And, one of the things I know a lot of people had said with this was, they need to come out of the gate running. Autel. They need to hit a home run with this, which it looks like they have with the drones that they've come out with. But, that's part one. Part two is getting them into the hands of consumers. All right. And we're going to go into some of this here in a second. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put up the statement on the screen. I do want to read through this tonight, and I do want to highlight a couple of things because I think this is real important that we go over this here. Okay. And it's hello, everyone. First, we want to thank all of our fans and followers. It doesn't matter if you just follow one of our social channels or if you fly our products every day. Your support and enthusiasm has always kept us going here at the Seattle office. With the announcement of Evo 2 at CES, the response has been absolutely crazy. This community is exploding, and we thank you for your patience with us as we are still trying to catch up on our responses. We also want to be as transparent as possible and give you all periodic updates on the status and availability of Evo 2. That way, you have the most up-to-date information straight from us and not just rumors. Our goal at CES was to get the initial units of Evo 2 8K into the hands of dealers by the end of January. Unfortunately, during production, we found a bug in our software that could limit flight performance under normal operation. Instead of shipping the hardware with a known issue and forcing users to perform day one updates, we have decided to delay the rest of production and shipments until we have resolved the issue. Our projected timeline is to have Evo 2 available for purchase in March. This is not a set date or time frame, and things can always change. But with the information we have today, that is our goal. The team in Seattle is very small, and we are adding channel support as we can. We are looking to start up our website newsletter again in the next few weeks. So for any further updates, please check our website, the official social channels, and emails coming directly from us. We thank you for your patience. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get a hold of us at support@autelrobotics.com. Thank you all again, and fly safe. Okay. Now, there's some things that I really want to focus in here. Is their statement and what they say here? It's in that our goal at CES paragraph. It said they found a bug in our software, and instead of shipping the hardware with a known issue and forcing users to perform day one updates, we've decided to delay the rest of production and shipments until we've resolved the issue. Ron and Marcus, what are your thoughts regarding that?
I believe them. Ron?
Yes, I have no reason to disbelieve that it's a software bug, and they're doing the right thing. I think by holding it back until they get this bug fixed. I mean, we've seen people like Ken Dono fly it, and I don't remember him complaining about any major flying issues. But again, I'll take their word for it that it's a software bug that's big enough to hold release back until I hear it differently. I mean, Bill, do you think it could have anything to do with this? The flu over in China as well as a software bug?
Well, Lauren had pointed out, they had received information from DJI that there's going to be delays because of the coronavirus. So that's a distinct possibility that does enter into play here. But I think the thing about this is, okay, software updates are relatively easy to take care of. I mean, let's, as far as that's concerned, if it's a hardware issue, it's going to take time. Okay. It's going to take retooling. It's going to take parts. It's going to take suppliers. There's a whole chain here. All right. This had to have been a serious enough issue, software speaking, for them to have delayed this, because, the route would have been, and the general consensus and the thought would have been, the sooner that Autel can get this out, the better. And, if it was that serious to hold this back, it must really be a serious issue, because, I would not mind, and I think you guys would agree with me, if day one, let's say I get an Evo 2 AK, and day one, there's a firmware update. You need to run it immediately to take care of XYZ issue. You're not going to hesitate. You're going to do it. And how many times have we gotten, for example, the Mavic Mini, when we got it right away, there was a firmware update. Okay. I know with the Mavic 2 Pro, when I got that, same thing. I had to do a firmware update right away for that. So, that's not uncommon. That's not an uncommon thing.
Hey, Bill?
Yes.
So I can tell you at CES, I got to handle the Evo 2, pardon me, in all three of its forms with the 3 different cameras on it. It was very clear to me that it's a very finished product. These were not prototype looking products, very solid drone. It looked like it was ready for prime time. They were flying it in a cage there at CES. It was, obviously how much you're going to tell from somebody flying it in a cage. But when they put up that infrared camera on there, they had monitors around. It was amazing. You've never seen resolution like that in infrared, like with that drone. And the other thing that I'll say about it, it was very quiet. Now, like Ron said, we've seen Ken Dono fly it. We've seen some others fly it. So whatever it is, if it is indeed a software issue, there can be a software issue that can't be fixed with a firmware push. It could be software within a chip on one of the boards, that sort of thing. So I just don't think we have any reason not to take them at face value. And I got to tell you, if I would applaud them for making sure that they're going to get that thing out there correct and ready to go when they get it in the consumer's hands. Because as you said, Bill, they can't afford to have a hiccup because their competition is DJI, and DJI is they're top notch. So Autel needs to be that or more.
Hey, Bill Cliff makes an interesting comment or a good comment in the chat. He says, "What is wrong with us doing a day one update? Is that so horrible?" Yeah, he's right. Many of us get a drone where the first thing you have to do is do a firmware update. So, yeah, what would have hurt here? So maybe there is more to this than just a small firmware update.
No, Lauren said the issue Autel is having is inconsistent communication restricting range. Okay. Thank you for that comment, Lauren. You know what that's very interesting. You know, we all know, you know, one of the reasons that the Autel Evo and Evo 2 is popular is there's no geofencing with it, unlike DJI drones. So that does appeal to a lot of people, as far as that's concerned. You know, so, you know, it's really an unknown at this point, but, you know, that's a good point that Lauren brings up here. But I gotta agree with Marcus, and I did talk about this last night in my video. They were transparent. Autel was transparent with this right away. They didn't hesitate. They came out. They communicated this clearly to us. Okay, last year we were left from February through June with crickets. They didn't say a word. No matter how much that you went after them in terms of their, you know, emailing them, pinging them on Twitter, everything, it was silence. You really didn't hear anything back. We don't have any updates at this time, was the answer that they got back to you for months at a time. And then finally, it was the end of June, beginning of July. Here they are. They're coming out right away, and they're saying, we got to stop the process here, guys. They're being transparent. So, number one, I give them some kudos for that. Number two, I also give them some kudos for trying to say what's going on here. All right. Because, you know, a lot of times, you know, your competition is reading what, you know, what you're putting out. So you want to be real careful here with what you're saying. But, you know, they came out with a statement saying that, you know, this is a software issue. But I think what they should have done is they probably should have used wording like, this is a serious enough of a software issue. It's preventing us from releasing the Evo 2 at this point in time. And we're going to be looking at a future date, possibly March, instead of saying, we don't want you to have to do an upload on day one, kind of a thing. I think they probably they probably could have used some better language as far as that's concerned. One of the things that I was thinking about, and I had some comments on this, is do either of you, and I wanted to ask you guys this and get your opinions. Do you think DJI is going to advance their timetable and try to get something out before the Evo 2 comes out? Ron and Marcus, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, Bill, my thoughts is I'll go a little back and forth with you. Do you think do you think DJI was aware that maybe they didn't know the specs, but they knew an Autel Evo 2 was coming out at CES. So if they were going to move anything up, you'd think that those plans would have already been in place. I don't know why that just because the Evo 2 is having problems, why that would change their timeline if they hadn't already accelerated it when they first heard. Well, it wasn't even rumors. Autel announced they were coming out with the Evo 2, and I think they even announced that it was going to be like 8K and stuff, right? A lot of that was known from directly from Autel themselves that this stuff was coming. CES, am I right on that, Bill?
Well, it was revealed when we got the FCC grant ID information. Okay, we knew
December still, right?
Yeah, that was back in December. We knew all that information at that point. So, it was just actually physically seeing the drone at CES, like Marcus was able to get to do, and that was good. What else was real good, and Marcus brought up a great point here, is how solid and how polished and professional that looked. Because I know Ken had said when he went and was looking at the original Evo, how they had different like prototype models. He said you could tell that those were prototype models out there, okay? That they weren't polished, they weren't professional. That's a great point, Marcus. They brought out their best here at CES. So, again, some more kudos to them for doing that. So Marcus, what's your take on
Well,
this?
let me finalize it.
Go ahead, Ron.
Marcus. So based on what you said there, no, I don't think this will change DJI's plans at all. They're the big guns in town. They're the Apple in the drone world, whatever. It marches to their beat, not to somebody else's. So I say this doesn't change DJI's timeline at all for drones coming out this year. Marcus, what do you think?
Yeah, what Ron said and what Lauren said in the chat. Yeah, no, it's not going to change their timeline. DJI has had their plans in place, I'm sure, for quite some time. Yeah, what Autel does probably, is not going to play into that probably whatsoever.
Yeah, that's I concur with you guys. I don't think DJI does not want to rush something in just for the sake of getting something out. Okay. If they were a, smaller company or, trying to get themselves noticed, I'll pick on, who makes the V-Copter Falcon?
Zero drones.
Zero robotics.
Zero, yeah.
Let's say a zero robotics. I could see somebody like them, jumping the gun here and saying, let's get this out. Let's be front and center. Let's get some attention here. Okay. But for DJI, when they come out with something, and I think Ron brought up a good point, they're the ones, they're the E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. They're the big gun in town. Okay. When they make a statement, okay, and when they come out with a product, okay, it's head and shoulders above everybody else, and they set the bar here. Okay. So, the Evo 2 is going to be what it is. Okay. And the Mavic 3 is going to be what it is when it comes out, towards the summer. Okay. And I don't see, them jumping this for any reason whatsoever. There's no need to do this. Now, if they were a week or two away, that's a different story, but I don't think they're there yet. I think they saw what Autel was coming out with, and they saw what Skydio came out with, and they want to get something that's going to combine these features and be better. And they're working on it, and they're going to be diligent about it. And you can bet that they're going to do their homework, and it's going to be done. It's going to be done right. It's going to be done well, as far as that's concerned.
Good comment. Yeah, and as far as DJI, I wouldn't even want to see him react to this. We don't need a Mavic Air 2.5, in between the 2 and the 3. You know what I mean? Like just hang in there. Give us the 3 with all the stuff we want going forward. Don't mess around. Throw some kind of quickie Mavic 2.5 out there just to try to steal a few sales from Alta. I would want to see them do that. Even they wouldn't do that, but even if I wanted to see it, I would want to see them do it.
Okay, question for you guys. Okay, now Lauren did indicate that the coronavirus is affecting DJI. So obviously, it's going to have an effect here with Autel as well, because obviously Autel's manufacturing is over in China as well. Do either of you think that also played into this decision to delay the introduction of the Evo 2?
Bill, I think they would have said it if it did.
Okay.
They appear to be pretty transparent. They would have said, okay, we found this issue. In addition to that, there's production issues related to the coronavirus. I think they would have been upfront and just said something. I think. Ron?
Yeah, I agree with Marcus too. I think if it was the issue from too many workers being sick, I don't know why they would hold back and not say that, unless the government didn't want them to talk about how many sick workers they had. But I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, and Lauren agrees with us as well too, and I do too. I don't think this is going to play into this, and I think I know, like I said, I led the broadcast off with that statement and everything, and that's a whole nother ball game as far as talking about the coronavirus and how it's affecting things and everything, and it's just like you want to our thoughts and prayers should be with the people of China and those affected by this, that they can find a cure or some type of a way to stem this epidemic. and get it taken care of, because it's become an issue, and that's completely separate from drones and everything else that we talk about here tonight. So
Hey, Bill, before you move, I know this isn't on your subject list, but I only want to spend a minute on it. But Chris Hope brought some information up to me last night, and Dennis Lovelady discovered this, that he was trying to get the cached files off his Mavic Mini, the what gets recorded on the controller and the phone actually, and he discovered that it had no audio in it. Were you aware that the DJI Fly app doesn't cache the audio like the DJI Go 4 app does?
No, I did not know that. I thought it did. I mean,
well, we're not sure. I mean, Chris, he asked me if I could test it. I didn't get a chance to fool around with it today, but I guess so far him and Dennis have tested it, and there's no audio in the cache. So if you have time, maybe this weekend to look in that, Bill, maybe we could discuss that in more detail on a future show.
Yeah, that does sound very interesting. And I think also too, in the meantime, I'll ping DJI support with that. And what's real interesting, and we'll talk about this. We're done. We're if there's more Evo 2 news, I'll be sure to bring that up, and we'll definitely bring that up and discuss that next week. I think what's really going to be good here is to ping DJI support and to ask them about this. And
it looks like Chris already has.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. DJI said no go as well. So then that's definitely no go, and that's an issue. Okay, because I know for me, when I'm going out there and I'm flying, I have a screen recorder on my Note 10 that I'm using. Okay, and that screen recorder also picks up audio for me. So I'm good as far as that's concerned. That's how I'm doing my screen recordings. That's how I'm getting it, and the audio is crystal clear. It's very, very good as far as that's concerned. So hopefully this is something that DJI can take care of and address in a future firmware update. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about too is I did a video on the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 and the firmware update that came out for that and what it was missing. Okay, and what it was missing was the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. Okay. The smart controller, the smart controller firmware update was missing. Everybody thought that the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 was going to be included in it, and it wasn't. Now, I reached out to DJI support, and they told me there's no plans to add the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 as of this point in time. And I asked them directly, because I gave them the beta firmware version, and I told them that I was a beta firmware tester for this, and was there any plans to include this in a future update? They said, as of right now, no. And guys, for me, okay, I think they're really missing a golden opportunity here, okay, because they're missing opportunities to sell the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, the smart controller, and also, like Ron said, because Ron went out there and he found you can get the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 without the controller, okay, and buy the smart controller. So it's incredible. And one of the things I can say is, after having used it multiple times and filmed some videos with it, it's incredible. Flying the Phantom 4 with that, it is so much better than the big controller. I mean, it's night and day. It really is. Bill, yes.
Let me throw this at you. So it's been difficult to get a hold of a smart controller just to buy it by itself. Could it be that DJI recognizes that maybe they couldn't meet demand if they released it for the V2.0?
That's very possible, Marcus, because I know earlier in the year when I got mine, it was in extremely short supply. It was very hard to find. And then, dealers that would have it were charging premiums, unfortunately. I mean, it was that kind of a case. I mean,
and I think they held units back to sell them with the bundles.
And and I was just going to say that, and Ron brought that up right there. They bundle them, like when Ron got his Mavic 2 Pro, it came with it. He didn't get the normal controller. He got a smart controller with it.
Thank you, Bill, for advising me on that. That was the best thing I did all year.
Oh, and thank you, Ron, for letting me fly your drone with that smart controller.
Marcus got one flight in with the smart controller, Bill.
See, you know what? I tell you what, Marcus, when you fly that smart controller, it's like you don't ever want to fly with a regular controller again.
Well, I'll tell you the thing that struck me. So I was a little worried about the size of it, right? You know,
Mhm.
when you're just looking at pictures, it's kind of hard to say. But when we were at Spin Up, Ron just handed it to me, and wow, it just felt very natural. Number one, the other thing about it that struck me is that flipping screen is so bright and so easy to see. How often do we complain about uh, being able to see the screen on whatever device we're using? No problem with the smart controller.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, Lauren just said Phantom 4 will only remain in production if sales numbers remain high enough. That's a good point. Now DJI did say they're committed to doing the Phantom 4 Pro RTK, and then there's the other Phantom 4. I'm trying to remember that one. It was for agricultural use as well. So the mapping drone, and then there was the one for agricultural use. But it's going to go by the wayside, unfortunately.
Hey,
Bill,
Bill.
can I ask you a quick question? How do you have you heard or any rumors? I know they don't release sales figures. Have you heard any rumors? Is the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 is it starting to sell since it's been released? Is it is it really selling, or they're just trickling a few out? And sorry to cut you off, Marcus.
No. The only way to tell about information like that, Ron, is to go out on app sites that are specific to drones. And I know that Sally French, the drone girl, that's how she was able to get some sales figures for DJI. So it's really kind of difficult because DJI doesn't really divulge that type of information. I think you would probably have to talk to like dealers. Maybe Lauren can chime in. Ron said yes. He said they're selling well. Lauren,
Bill, another quick question: Are they in stock at Best Buys now?
That I don't know.
So
I haven't.
We need to make field trips to Best Buy this
Yes,
weekend.
we need to make field trip. Well,
stock.
that's always it's always a good it's always a good reason to go to Best Buy. There's always a good reason.
Well, it's especially when it's research for the show.
Absolutely. Well, it's like, okay, I'll take Valerie here. I'll take Valerie with me. She says, "What are we doing?" I say, "We're doing research for Rotor Talk Live." That's why.
There you go.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Well, Bill. So on the subject of the Phantom 4, recently Ken Heron did a video talking about why the Phantom 4 is his go-to drone, and he made a comment about the quiet props that come on the Phantom 4 Pro and the V2.0. He says the original Phantom 4 props are the best, and you get more precise, better handling with them. He says the quiet ones, yeah, they're quieter by a little bit, but he says it doesn't fly nearly as good. I'm wondering if you or maybe Lauren has had some experience with that.
No, see, I got the quiet props came with mine, so
yeah.
I'd like to be
dead, but he put the older props on because he didn't think it flew as well with the quiet.
Right.
He to the point where he called them junk, right, Marcus?
He did, and I'll bet you Lauren probably has had experience with both. And I was just curious, Bill. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
No. I think that's a good thing. And if I could try to find some now, see, the trick is to try to find some of those regular props. I'm sure I could probably find them, but it would take some digging because every time you go up and try to find those props right now, you get all that come up are the quiet props. So
right.
So that would be real interesting.
Chris Hope chimed in and said that Best Buy doesn't have the Phantom Pro 2 V2.0 in stock right now.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you, Chris, for that information.
Hey, so Lauren is saying he missed the question. Lauren, what we were asking about was the difference between the original Phantom 4 props and the quiet props. Ken Heron is a proponent of the original props. He's saying that the Phantom 4 handles way better with them, and I'm willing to bet you've probably flown with both.
Yeah, that'd be real interesting to find out what Lauren's take on it. See, I've only flown with the quiet props on mine, so I don't know any different. And that's a good. I mean, it's $20 or whatever. I'll definitely, if I can find some tomorrow, I'm going to go out and get them and take a look and see what that's going to be.
I bet you can go to like your Best Buy. They may not have any Phantoms in stock, but I bet you they got an old pack of props laying around someplace.
Oh, I bet they probably do, Ron. I bet you're right. As far as
Lauren is saying that that's true.
That is true. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm definitely gonna get some. I think.
Boy, that Bill, that'd make a great video, my friend.
Whoa! Doing. There's a light bulb that just goes off right there with that, as far as that's concerned. So
Yeah, and the video's only going to cost you $20 to buy a pack of old props, lay it around some store like Best Buy or maybe Walmart. Did Walmart ever carry the Phantom series of drones?
oh yeah. Well, here's this. When I got my Phantom 4 Pro, I was out on the forums. I was looking everywhere because it was really hard to find them. And what Walmart was doing was discounting them, and this was when they were sale for like $1,500. They had them. There was a Walmart in West Virginia that was selling them for brand new in the box for $999. But the thing was, they weren't doing any online orders or over the phone orders. You had to come in and pick it up. I told Valerie, we're getting on a plane right now to Pittsburgh and then driving to West Virginia.
I was going to ask you, Bill, do you have any relatives still in Pittsburgh? They could have gone down to West Virginia and picked that up for you.
No, unfortunately, I don't, Ron. None that would do that for me. So as far as that's concerned, well, we covered a lot of ground tonight. I mean, we really did a pretty good deep dive into what's going on with the Xeno 2, and we may find out more information next week. So stay tuned on that. As far as that's concerned, we'll definitely talk that over. The Autel Evo 2, we covered a lot of ground with that as well tonight too. We really kind of did a deep dive into this, and and I concur with what both Ron and Marcus had to say on this. And I think the bottom line for me is this, and I've read a lot of the comments out there. I give a lot of kudos to Autel for being transparent and upfront about this and letting us know what's going on. And, my hope for them, I desperately want to see them succeed. For them to succeed, we'll push DJI to put out better products, and it's a win for everybody as far as that's concerned. And, the Evo 2 is going to be a great drone. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'd love to get one to be able to test. If I had it in the budget, I'd love to be able to get one. So we'll stay tuned on that. Gentlemen, your closing thoughts for tonight.
Well, my closing thoughts is, Bill, we need your Super Bowl prediction for this weekend. We got two teams playing. It's the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I posted a map at Zeo Nation of what parts of the country are rooting for what team, but I forget who Florida is rooting for.
Florida is rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs, and so am I. Okay.
Really? You're a Chiefs fan?
Oh, you know why? Okay. And I'll tell you why here. And this is kind of a strange connection. Okay. Now, the original owner of the Kansas City Chiefs was Lamar Hunt. He has long since passed away. Okay. His son now owns the franchise. But when Lamar Hunt was still alive, okay, he brought Major League Soccer to Columbus, Ohio, the Columbus Crew. Okay. And he was the owner of the Columbus Crew. They built a stadium there for them. Really rejuvenated, getting a professional sports team to Columbus. And I think it was because of that the NHL took notice, and eventually, came and ended up coming with the Blue Jackets. So, he did a lot of great work. He was a great man, and he was well respected in the Columbus, Ohio community for what he did for that. And that's why I'm going with that, going with them. Also, too, if the 49ers win, they will also tie the Steelers' 6 Super Bowl wins. So I desperately don't want to see that happen.
Okay.
So
now, Bill, since the Super Bowl's in the great state of Florida, will you be driving down to the game on Sunday and flying your drone above the stadium?
Well, you know what? Driving down there is one thing. Flying a drone, you would probably be seeing bars in front of me and Valerie posting bail for me as far as that's concerned, because the FAA, it was interesting. They actually issued a NOTAM today for the entire area around that stadium for, I believe, I don't know how many miles around the stadium, but it's all encompassing around there. So they're very, very much on top of things there. So going to be interesting. It's a warm weather climate. So, the weather here has been in the 70s. So I think it's been a little warmer down towards the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. So that's going to be good as far as that's concerned.
Well, I'm picking the 49ers just because I think they're a better team, not because I like them.
Okay. Well, I know Marcus has absolutely no vested interest in this, but who did you pick, Marcus?
Well, so I probably have a family that, well, number one, I was born in Redwood City, home of the Skydio 2, which
Okay.
is in the Bay Area. And then, and then my father is a Stanford University graduate. So, of course, he's been a 49ers fan his whole life. So I am not going to go against my father. So it's the 49ers all the way as far as I'm concerned. Although I was a little bit heartbroken. Ron informed me yesterday that Joe Montana is no longer the quarterback, but I'll still root for him. But
hey, Bill, is Lenny Dawson still the Chiefs quarterback?
No, he's not, and Hank Stram is not their coach anymore.
No?
Andy Reid's their coach. Okay. Well, you know what? It was real interesting when you were bringing up Joe Montana. I was thinking of all these names here, and listen to these names that I'm going to rattle off: Johnny Unitas, Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, Joe Montana,
Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett. Those five gentlemen all hail from Western Pennsylvania. Okay.
And they all belong to a certain membership in what club? The NFL Hall of Fame club.
The Hall of Fame club. They're all NFL Hall of Famers, and very, very deservedly so. So, it's very interesting. What also really kind of gets me is that with the Super Bowl coming up and everything, it's very reminiscent to me the Super Bowl back in 2011. I had just met Valerie. I came down to Florida, and we're getting ready to celebrate our 9th wedding anniversary is coming up very shortly next month. And I was watching, and the Steelers lost the Super Bowl, and my kids were both looking at me like, Dad's not going nuclear. What is wrong with you? I said, I told you. I said, I'm getting married in less than a week, and I couldn't be happier about it. And they said, you really must be in love with Valerie. I said, wait till you guys meet her. And they did end up meeting her shortly after that. So, but yeah, the Steelers lost the Super Bowl.
Who'd they lose to?
They lost to the Packers.
Oh, okay. That's Aaron Rodgers' one Super Bowl win.
That's
right?
Aaron Rodgers' one Super Bowl win that we kind of like handed to him on a gift. Okay. I won't even go there. Go Browns, Stephen Ewing. They're not in the Super Bowl. Okay. Marcus, any closing thoughts tonight?
yeah, so I just got this in the mail today. It's the media mod for the Hero 8. So I'm going to get that thing out tomorrow. What I'm primarily interested in is comparing the microphone with the Hero 8 without it, as well as the Hero 7. I also want to compare it to one of the best audio recording devices I've ever seen, and that's my iPhone, as well as my Canon M50 with the shotgun mic on it, just to see, hey, is it going to live up to the hype of what GoPro says it will? And yeah, it should be fun. That'll be something to do on a rainy day.
So does that? I mean, refresh my memory here. Does the Hero 8? Does that media module? Does that mean you could be able to live stream to like YouTube from?
Well, you can do that anyway.
No you can do that anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
It
but
doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But what it does is it adds another a shotgun microphone onto the cage, and then it has a couple of cold shoes on it. Plus, it has a 3.5 mm out and an HDMI out on there as well. So you could add, with a cold shoe, you could add another shotgun mic if you wanted to, etc. But I'm interested to see how the one is that they included on it, and to see how it does in the wind. I may not be able to test that tomorrow, but anyway, it should be interested. I'm a fan of the Hero 8, and this should improve it. The other thing that it allows me to add, if I decide to, is that front-facing display mod that they have as well. I haven't decided if I'll get that yet, but this would allow me to add that to it.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Ron, did you have any closing thoughts besides asking me who I was rooting for in the Super Bowl?
I'm going to jump in real fast on Marcus's thing here. Talk about action cameras and video. I saw where Air Photography, who's usually in here, is in here chat a lot. He did a video recently where he showed that the new Insta360, or you could control it with an app on your Apple Watch. That's number one.
Oh,
And number two is, everybody knows the company Filmic Pro. They make kind of the best app for taking professional quality video on your phone. At the Apple iPhone 11 Pro event, they showed a future app ability to use multiple cameras at once with the new iPhones that actually had 4 cameras on them. Well, just like I think today, because I just all the biggies released their previews. It just dropped. It's an app called Double Take, and it will allow you to simultaneously use 2 cameras on your iPhone 11 Pros. So take a look at it. It's real interesting. I kind of previewed an app at SpinUp called Mixcam that kind of did the same thing. This is on a much more professional level. So you may want to check it out. I'm going to throw it back to Bill. I want Bill to remind everybody to jump over the Ken show after you leave here.
yeah, Ken, I wanted to, yeah, that's a great point. Hi, Michael. Good seeing you. My good friend Ken Donna, Original Dobo, is doing a live stream about the Autel Evo 2. I think you guys definitely want to check it out. He had parental advisory explicit on there. So he's going to be sharing comments that he's gotten on his latest video. So, anytime Ken gets online, you definitely want to catch it. You may want to definitely watch it because one of the things I can tell you is a lot of times, he'll end up deleting his live streams afterwards. So you want to definitely check that out tonight. So many thanks to my incredible co-hosts, Ron and Marcus. Thank you so much tonight. Thank you all for a great chat tonight. Really enjoyed the conversation in here. We'll stay on top of things. We'll keep on top of things with Newswise. Ron and Marcus and I do a great job at that. So, and we will get you the news when we find it out. So with bidding everyone further ado, hope you enjoy the Super Bowl this weekend. Safe travels. And again, remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.